If you're over 60 and dealing with sciatica that keeps coming back, no matter how many stretches you try, there's a possibility that the real problem has nothing to do with your disc at all. Most people are told the same story. You have a slipped disc. Your spine is aging. You just need better stretches. But what if the pain that shoots down your leg, the burning, the numbness, the deep aching in your lower back, is actually connected to something far more simple, something most doctors never even test for? I'm Dr. Michael Hayes, and in today's video, I'm going to explain a surprising connection between recurring sciatica pain and a specific nutrient imbalance that may be silently weakening your connective tissue and irritating your nerves. And if what I'm about to share applies to you, correcting it could change how your body heals from nerve pain. Over the next several minutes, you'll discover why sciatica keeps returning even after stretching, what role your connective tissue actually plays in nerve compression, the mineral deficiency that may quietly damage your nerves over time, and a few practical things you can start doing today to support recovery. But before we begin, I'd love to know something about you. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from today? And how old are you? I read the comments on every video, and knowing who's watching helps me create content that's genuinely useful for this community. Now let's start with the basics. What sciatica actually is. Sciatica refers to irritation or compression of the sciatic nerve, the largest and longest nerve in the human body. If you imagine the width of your thumb, that's roughly the thickness of the sciatic nerve where it exits the lower spine. This single nerve actually forms from 5 different nerve roots in the lower back. These nerve roots join together and travel through the pelvis, down the back of the leg, and all the way to the foot. When something compresses or irritates those nerve roots, you can feel symptoms such as sharp shooting pain down the leg, burning sensations, tingling, numbness, weakness in the muscles. For many people, the pain begins in the lower back or buttock and radiates down the back of the leg. And yes, stretching can absolutely help reduce pressure temporarily. In fact, certain stretches can give almost immediate relief. But here's the frustrating part most people experience. The relief often doesn't last. A few hours later, or the next day, the pain returns again. And this is where many people start asking the wrong question. They ask, what stretch should I try next? But a better question might be, why is the nerve getting irritated in the first place? Because when you address the root cause of nerve irritation, that's when long-term improvement becomes possible. Now here's where things start to get really interesting. Most discussions about sciatica focus entirely on the disc. And yes, in many cases, the disc plays a role. In fact, research suggests that a large percentage of sciatica cases involve disc pressure on the nerve roots. But that explanation doesn't answer one important question. Why do some people develop repeated disc weakness, while others with the same lifestyle and age never experience sciatica at all? That question led researchers to start looking deeper into connective tissue health and nerve resilience. And this is where a lesser-known condition begins to appear in medical literature. It's called myeloneuropathy. That word might sound complicated, but it simply refers to a condition that affects both the spinal cord and the peripheral nerves. People with this condition can experience symptoms such as burning nerve pain, numbness or tingling, weakness in the muscles, difficulty walking, nerve sensitivity, and sometimes symptoms that look very similar to sciatica. One of the surprising things researchers discovered is that in some cases, myeloneuropathy can be associated with nutritional deficiencies, particularly deficiencies that affect the nervous system and connective tissue. One of those nutrients is copper. Now, before we go any further, it's important to be clear about something. Copper deficiency is not the most common cause of sciatica. However, it is recognized in medical literature as a potential cause of neurological problems, including myelopathy and peripheral neuropathy, which can affect how nerves function. When the body lacks adequate copper, several systems can be affected. Copper plays a role in multiple enzymes that are involved in nervous system function, energy production, antioxidant defense, connective tissue formation. And this last point is particularly important. Your intervertebral discs, the cushioning structures between the bones of your spine, rely heavily on collagen and connective tissue integrity. When connective tissue weakens over time, discs can become more vulnerable to bulging, degeneration, and increased pressure on nearby nerves. That pressure is what often leads to the pain pattern we call sciatica. But copper isn't only involved in connective tissue. It also participates in processes that support the nervous system itself. Copper-dependent enzymes help maintain myelin, the protective coating that surrounds nerve fibers. When nerves lose protection or become irritated, they can become more sensitive to compression and inflammation. That means even mild structural pressure may create strong pain signals. This combination, weakened connective tissue and irritated nerves, is one reason some people may develop recurring nerve pain that seems difficult to fully resolve. And this might also explain something many patients report. They stretch, they feel relief, but the pain comes back later. Because stretching addresses mechanical pressure temporarily, but it doesn't necessarily address the underlying factors affecting the tissues themselves. Now again, this doesn't mean copper deficiency is the cause for everyone. But understanding how nutrients influence connective tissue and nerve health opens the door to a much more complete approach to managing chronic nerve pain. So the next logical question becomes, why would someone become deficient in copper in the first place? There are several possible reasons. The first and most obvious one is simply dietary intake. Copper is naturally found in foods such as shellfish, organ meats like liver, nuts and seeds, dark chocolate, legumes, whole grains. The problem is that many people, especially in modern Western diets, rarely consume these foods regularly. Another factor is nutrient balance. Certain minerals compete with each other for absorption in the body. For example, high zinc intake can interfere with copper absorption. Zinc is a very popular supplement because it's often marketed for immune health. But when someone takes large amounts of zinc for long periods of time without balancing it with copper, this can gradually create a deficiency. Iron supplementation can sometimes have a similar effect in certain cases. There are also lifestyle factors that can influence mineral levels over time. For instance, chronic stress, high sugar intake, excessive alcohol consumption, long-term digestive issues, certain medications. All of these can influence how well the body absorbs and maintains trace minerals. Another interesting factor is aging itself. As we grow older, the digestive system often becomes less efficient at absorbing nutrients. Stomach acid levels may decrease, digestive enzymes may decline, and medications that many people take later in life can further reduce mineral absorption. That means even if someone is eating a reasonable diet, they may still develop subtle nutrient deficiencies over time. Now let's talk about what someone can actually do about this information. Because knowledge is helpful only if it leads to practical steps. Practical steps to support nerve and disc health. Step 1 is awareness. If you struggle with recurring nerve pain, including sciatica, it can be helpful to evaluate whether your diet includes adequate sources of trace minerals. Adding foods rich in copper and other nutrients that support connective tissue can be a simple starting point. These include foods such as oysters and shellfish, liver and organ meats, cashews, seeds, cocoa and dark chocolate, lentils and beans. These foods contain not only copper, but also other nutrients that support collagen production and tissue repair. Step 2 is supporting connective tissue health overall. This includes nutrients such as vitamin C, adequate protein, trace minerals, and maintaining healthy circulation through movement. Remember that discs and connective tissue structures rely on the body's ability to maintain collagen and structural proteins. When those systems are supported nutritionally, the tissues themselves may become more resilient. Step 3 is movement and mobility. Even though this video discusses nutritional factors, stretching and movement still play an important role. Stretching can reduce mechanical pressure on the sciatic nerve and help maintain flexibility in the hips and lower back. But the most effective approach usually combines movement, nutrition, and long-term tissue support, instead of relying on only one method. Why this matters more after 60. For people over 60, these factors become even more important. As we age, connective tissue naturally loses elasticity. Discs may lose hydration. Nutrient absorption can decline. At the same time, the nervous system becomes more sensitive to irritation. That combination can make recurring nerve pain more common. Supporting the body's structural tissues and nervous system becomes a key part of maintaining mobility and quality of life. And sometimes the most helpful improvements come not from one dramatic treatment, but from several small corrections working together over time. Your action plan. If you deal with recurring sciatic pain, consider these simple steps. 1. Evaluate whether your diet contains mineral-rich foods. 2. Add foods that support connective tissue and collagen production. 3. Continue gentle stretching and mobility exercises. 4. Discuss any persistent symptoms with a healthcare professional who can evaluate possible nutritional factors. Sometimes improving the body's internal balance can make a significant difference in how tissues heal and function. Before you go, if this video helped you understand sciatica in a new way, give it a like so more people can find this information. And if you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel. On this channel, we focus on science-based health strategies specifically for adults over 50 and 60 who want to stay active, mobile, and independent. Now I'd like to hear from you. Have you ever experienced recurring sciatica? What helped you the most? Tell me in the comments below. I read the comments and often create future videos based on your questions. Thank you for watching. This is Dr. Michael Hayes, and remember, sometimes the key to solving a long-term health problem isn't simply treating the symptom. It's understanding what the body may have been missing all along. Take care, stay active, and I'll see you in the next video.